bonangu mandela jina laphe khona laphe hleli khona
hasimbonanga
bonangu mandela jina laphe khona laphe hleli khona
hasimbonanga
bonangu mandela jina laphe khona laphe hleli khona
hasimbonanga
bonangu mandela jina laphe khona laphe hleli khona
hasimbonanga
bonangu mandela jina laphe khona laphe hleli khona
hasimbonanga
Attention all passengers. Please note this is an airport announcement. No passengers are permitted to leave any items unattended, as this may be seen as a security risk. Any unattended luggage will be removed by security and destroyed. Thank you.
With your carry-on luggage underneath the seat ahead of you or the overhead storage bins. Please ensure all window blinds are open. Crew will be securing the cabin shortly.
Attention all passengers. Attention all passengers. Hello. Hello, I'm talking to you. Hello. Yeah, all the people is like cooler.com. The plane is delayed. The plane just going on 2, it's going on 3. Yeah, all the people must just take a ticket for that one because they have a problem, nah? Just take on that. If a ticket says 2, then it's going to be 3, nah? Then mustn't complain when the plane is not there because then I need to tell you now. Then must just phone the people that are coming to pick you up. Must tell them, yo, I need my plane, it's changed. It's not, and then they start speaking to people in the background. They don't even turn on their mic. All the must just tell the people they have my plane. I tell you, I want the plane, have a quick drink. I need to jelly, a quick drink. Yeah, I'm not going to I need to jelly. Yeah, it's chicken. Yeah, yeah. I'm for the drumstick. I'm for the plastic. It's drumstick, yeah. Yeah, I'm for the drumstick. Okay, yes, I'm just 7. Okay, all the people is flying one time.
We had to set the alarm clock for 6 a.m. just in case. We had to be at the Walvis Bay waterfront for 7:45 sharp. Nadia Dreyer from Pelican Point Kayaking advised us to get a coffee from next door, as we were the first ones to arrive, despite being 10 minutes late. The traffic to Walvis Bay had been frightening. Nadia packed 8 of us into her special issue Land Rover with the kayaks on the trailer, and we headed to Pelican Point.
About 60% of that fish is sent to Spain and distributed all around Europe. They sort of dance
Past the masses of flamingos we went.
microscopic organisms, worms.
In 2013, over 46,000 greater flamingos and nearly 6,000 lesser flamingos were counted. Pelican Point really is the end of the world.
So we do come here.
The lighthouse is unique in that it is painted black and white to contrast better against the desolation. The point is at a flat strip of shifting sand. No tree, no bush, not a single blade of grass. The breakers on each side were humongous, as well as in military straight lines. We saw some dolphins, a jackal, and of course masses of seagulls and cormorants. Nudir parked at the water's edge, where his companion, Jens, had already unpacked the waterproofs. Or splash-proofs, as they kept reminding us. The advice was to strip off all unnecessary clothes, as they were certain to get wet. Jane and Marcus occupied one kayak, Amy and I the other. On our return, we were greeted by hot coffee and delicious sandwiches. The French family that was in the same car as us had a baptism of fire today. They were on a self-drive safari in Namibia for the first time. They were astonished that you had to crouch behind the truck for a pee and had to change into your wet weather gear in full view of everybody. They marveled at the fact that you need flat tires when driving in soft sand, and the South African way of driving, steering wheel between the legs while chatting on the mobile phone and filming waves. On the way back, it was just us and Nudir. So he kindly stopped at the salt pans for us to get some salt crystals. Of course, we won't mention the door and shuttered windows. We had one day to stroll around town, do the shopping and collect our car. Susanne advised us to have a coffee in the newly built Strand Hotel. We meandered along the Mole and the beach, taking the fresh air and playing in the Atlantic waves. We had our first braai, seasoned with mass family exposure. Finally, we got our car from Crossroads 4x4 hire. Toyota Hilux. 3.2-liter engine. 2 roof tents. The first day of our trek was from Swakop to Terrace Bay, along the skeleton coast with all its wrecks. We had a quick breakfast and packed the last few items. I checked the tanks were full. They have two with 70 liters each, only to find out they weren't. Finally, we left Swakop. The first wreck was the Epupa. There were no signposts, no roads, and I relied heavily on the GPS. This was our first detour, and I already had the chance to try our truck's 4x4 capabilities. However, despite GPS support, there was simply no wreck to be seen. The second wreck was a fishing vessel that broke loose from its tow ropes en route to India in 2001. We could see the fog bank in the distance already. And then she emerged from the mist. The sailor of Hageland. It was very foggy, and this revealed the wreck in a different light. We missed the turn to the Swakop. So I simply turned off and followed the GPS. Swakop is the worked out Strathmore South tin mine that is filled up with water and is so salty you float. I could not persuade anybody to have a swim. The discarded tampons and all the other rubbish dissuaded them. At the wreck, Winston, you really realize the isolation of this skeleton coast. The loneliness, the vastness, the brutality. The next wreck was the Stormkus. A wooden ship this time.
Anyway, on our way back to the main road, we'll have a lunch, because I think it'd be nice not to have it by the main road. Let's go.
We left the Stormkus for the Oegap Mouth entry to the Skeleton Coast Park. Here we had lunch under a tamarisk bush in the mouth of the Oegap.
There it is. How did it get away? I see all ribs as well.
That's a ship.
Our last Skeleton Coast wreck was the Benguela Eagle.
That's the Benguela.
As we neared Terrace Bay, the weather grew darker, foggier, mysterious. The office was a corrugated iron hut, where we were asked whether we had seen any other cars on the way. We didn't. They handed us the keys to the semi-VIP which was fortunately right next to the restaurant.
How big yours like heaven? You going, it didn't believe it. That was in Africa. That was ages ago. This is Africa. This is Namibia. Yeah, but you said that was in Africa. No, Namibia's not in Africa anymore.
The bungalow was big, with a large open-plan area. A bedroom for the parents, one for the kids, and most surprising, a jacuzzi bath. We went for the set menu. Soup, then calamari rings. Steak for the kids and myself, fish for Jane. In the middle of the steak fest, Marcus suddenly stopped talking. Very unusual for him. He turned red and managed to cough up a slab of meat the size of a carrot. We call him Chokey ever since. When we left Terrace Bay, It was cold, wet, dingy. We left the car and, wandering towards the mouth of the Unyap River, we heard the strangest sound in a desert. The sound of a waterfall. As we drove further inland, the sun started to break through. We turned onto the C39 towards Correjas. The Springbokwasser exit of the Skeleton Coast Park is significantly less attractive than the Uchap one. We stopped over in Palmbach where there was shade for the car, diesel, sustenance for us, and most importantly, ablutions facilities. Onwards to the Kovarip Mountains and Kovarip Gorge. And here is what happens when Kuno tries to go off-road.
Stop! Daddy! What are you doing? I don't want to drive down here, please. Daddy! Please! No! Daddy!
Come on, kiddies! Don't say no to everything I do!
Okay, we'll go.
It is just unbelievable. Every time you do something, you say no.
I thought it was the end of the gorge. So did I. We couldn't see.
Don't say no to everything I do. I want you to do this backwards afterwards, Mummy.
What? Oh, well.
The road to the Ongongo hot springs was equally adventurous. However, we never actually saw the springs, as my family had enough and it was late. Sesfontein was our destination. Here I got lost and asked this Herero woman very politely whether she could point us in the right direction. She said,
What?
I tried again, this time in my Oxford Afrikaans, and she said, "What?" We did find our lodge in the end. Fort Sesfontein. Our accommodation was behind the fort and somewhat remote. Would hate to walk here at night. But it was quiet, neo-colonial. With big rooms and a broken toilet. The next day, Jane tackled the deep sands of the mighty Huanip River.
Destination. Okay, we've reached destination.
Hi, where my jongos? Young and free. Hi, where my jongos? Warriors we. Hi, where my jongos? Stand together. Azovimba pambili. Awubhekela amajongosi. Ayadlala amajongosi.
Today is the reckoning. Today we hold the line. Today is the quickening of the blood in the soul and the mind. I see the color of spirit. I see the color of pain. I see the color of brotherhood in the burning rain. These are the days you remember. These are the days of dreams. These days of no surrender. These are the days of thunder. These are the days of light. These are the days of wonder. We are the river running. We are the mighty sea. Feel the spirit and the power. Today we stand together. Today we hold the line. Today we live forever.
Hi, where my jongosi? Hi, where my jongosi? Hi, where my jongosi? Azovimba pambili. Awubhekela amajongosi.
Young and free.
Ayadlala amajongosi.
Warriors we.
Awubhekela amajongosi.
We'll stand together.
Ayadlala amajongosi.
I can feel your heartbeat like a warrior's drum. I can see your eyes on fire like a flame in the sun. I see lives in the balance. I see the future on hold. I feel a hurricane and courage in the bone. These are the days you remember. These are the days of dreams. These days of no surrender. These are the days of thunder. These are the days of light. These are the days of wonder. We are the river running. We are the mighty sea. Feel the spirit and the power. Today we stand together. Today we hold the line. Today we live forever.
Hi, where my jongosi? Hi, where my jongosi? Hi, where my jongosi? Azovimba pambili.
She deserves the rest. The meal was delicious. She said it was pork. Did she mean pork or bok, which is Afrikaans for antelope? In the end, we settled on spring pork. We headed further north through the Damara land towards Epupa. Here we saw our first Himba man. Some Herero women, a female Himba, and a Himba child carrying a bucket on her head. Epupa is a real frontier town. The last chance to get some diesel. Unexpected and strange passengers in the back of a car. It is also the last chance to stock up in the local OK Bazaar. This is packed with tourists. A local Himba woman with her baby. Zindonga women from Angola. A Himba man sporting his traditional garb and stick. And of course, a Herero. We travelled on towards Namibia's northern border, had a quick stop at a baobab tree.
I don't think I took any video in that village, never mind.
Really?
I can't do anything, don't say anything now, he'll kill me.
Not going to.
I think I had the cap on.
Look at all the palm trees. See where the river is. And the falls.
And finally arrived in Epupa. And the Epupa camp. Main entrance. View of the Kunene River. Bar on the left. The restaurant. This is where we had our dinners. and the swimming bowl. Which only our kids enjoyed. The campsite was right next to the Kunene River under Makalani palm trees. The ablution blocks were set somewhat apart, guarded by the skull of a crocodile. The first evening, Marcus and I built a fire using just flint, cotton wool and a petroleum jelly.
Very good. Etosha. And secondly, I was thinking...
We all relaxed, drank appetizer, listened to the rushing waters, and watched the sun set. The falls are stunning. A rainbow formed in its spray. And you could see our camp in the distance. The next morning, we were driven along the edge of the Kunene River to our rafting launch. The local kids were already there. Listening intently to our detailed rafting training.
90 degrees, we hold still like this, and the other side you drink water.
We donned our battle gear and left the shore, carefully watched by the Angolan neighbors.
Sweetie pie.
It started off very sedate.
Mumsy, Marcus.
Soon it became more exciting. Shopping in Epupa means armed guards and food behind bars. We weren't the only customers. But had to run the gauntlet to our car afterwards. The maize meal, the sugar, the coffee was meant to be a gift to the Himbas, allowing us into their village. The Himba, singular Omuhimba, plural Overhimba, are indigenous peoples with an estimated population of about 50,000 people living in northern Namibia in the Kunene region, formerly Kaukofeld, and on the other side of the Kunene River in Angola. The Overhimba are a semi-nomadic, pastoral people, culturally distinguishable from the Herero people in northern Namibia and southern Angola, and speak Ochehimba, a Herero language dialect, which belongs to the language family of the Bantu. The Overhimba are considered the last semi-nomadic people of Namibia.
Is it uncuffed?
Turn left.
Yeah, it's a huge thing.
Yeah, you've got a massive bar of chocolate.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that is Opuo country.
We drove from Epupa to the Opuo country lodge. An infinity pool overlooked the valley. But again, only my kids used it. We set up camp. Kitchen, dining room, and bedrooms. The footsteps at night, we learned, were the security guards, not tourist poachers. From Opuo, it was a short 240-kilometer hop to the Golden Gate at Etosha. Here, we were met by a fat Ovambo Nampark official who eyed us with suspicion. Until she saw Amy.
Who is you?
It made sure our car was disinfected and we got only briefly searched for contraband on our way out. Dolomite camp comprises little chalets built on a rocky outcrop. This is best appreciated from the air.
It's supposed to be.
Wait here, just for a second.
You get the sugar and stuff ready. Well, you've taken it. Does it say on that? Sugar. What is it? Brown sugar. South African Airways.
It gave stunning views from our balcony onto the valley and the animals below.
This is a good shape.
Etosha means great white place. Nah, it doesn't. It means driving around in your car, trying to spot animals.
What are you doing? Oh yeah, everything's fine.
You are acting so weird and immature.
Ooh, itchy, 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 itchy. There's something in my eye. There's something in my eye. Mummy! Itchy, 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 itchy. On our last evening, we congregated at our watering hole, as always, listening to the helicopter searching for poachers.
Look there.
Yeah, we might find, even if we found some sausage, you know, balls and stuff.
Oh, yeah, it's not far.
In Kamanyap, we replenished our food stores and drove to the Piet Albertskopje. We had to climb the hillock, which was packed with ancient rock engravings. The road to the Madisa camp was dusty, corrugated, bone-shattering. But the site itself was marvelous. A kitchenette with a donkey integrated into the fireplace. Lots of space for the tents. The ablution block was built on stilts to protect them from the elephants. There was a loo overlooking the Huantagap River. An open-air shower, and no one around. The journey to the Spitzkoppe took us past the Brandberg, Namibia's highest mountain. And through a village called Soris Soris.
Just camp.
The Spitzkoppe is also called the Matterhorn of Namibia. She is 1,784 meters high.
Dusty.
What's Dusty? Oh, here we go, Dusty. This is rather nice. I prefer this one.
And we drove round it to our new camping site called Dusty.
Where do you want the fireplace? You want the doors?
Opening towards the fireplace.
Jane guided me so carefully. For some reason, I stalled the car. We pitched the tents amongst the boulders, marveled at the amenities, and settled for the evening. The next morning, we joined some German teachers on a climbing expedition. Better doing it on your bum. Sometimes it was steep, sometimes very narrow. We ended up in a cave with Bushmen painting.
They are used to carrying bow and arrow so that they can defend on the way. And the women, they are carrying wild food, wild medicine. When the men are hunting around, then the women are collecting wild food, wild medicine. That's why women figure are bigger than the men figure. And here, that's a zebra. Sorry, that's a giraffe.
The climb back down was as treacherous as the one up. Later on, we did more hiking through the bush in the searing heat to see the famous rock arch. Better doing it on your bum. From Swakop, we drove to the Etosha's lodge to celebrate Omi's 80th birthday. But this will be another video. We stayed in one of the luxury tents . And the water rats, wow. Etosha offers horse riding and the kids went first.
Mumsy, I'm stuck in the bush. What do I do now?
Then it was our turn. Like Billy the Kid, we rode into the sunset. Actually, it was sunrise. But nothing beats letting the horse go. Although I was in control throughout, she wasn't. And neither was she. We did go on the scenic game drive, enjoying the last few days with the family. And just like that, it was all over. We had to return to Walvis Bay Airport. Leave the sun. And return to lovely England.